Will conscientious objectors save us from COVID prohibition? Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott, and this is Right Angle, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Gentlemen, a couple of videos came across my desk over the last couple of days. One of them has gone viral with millions of views by now, I think. And both involve Los Angeles restaurateurs who have been shut down again by your Code Red, Code Plaid, whatever the hell it's called, shut down there in Los Angeles, Bill. Let me just show you a quick clip so you get an idea of what's really annoying people about this latest round of COVID shutdowns.
I'm losing everything. Everything I own is being taken away from me. And they set up a movie company right next to my outdoor patio, which is right over here. And people wonder why I'm protesting and why I have had enough. They have not given us money and they have shut us down. We cannot survive. My staff cannot survive. Look at this.
Now, that was Angela Marsden. She's the owner of Pineapple Hill Saloon and Grill. In this video, as you saw, her biggest complaint isn't that she isn't allowed to do business, but that NBC Studios can set up all the catering they want because, of course, they have Mayor Eric Garcetti's ear. And as a small businesswoman, she doesn't. Bill, what gets me about this video is, I know enough about the restaurant industry to know it isn't exactly flooded with MAGA types. But you watch these videos, you listen to what people being affected, being put out of business by these shutdowns have to say. And you've got a bunch of, what used to be Democrats, or maybe still are Democrats, but sound an awful lot like Trump voters now.
We shoot the backstage show, and this is the first show we've shot today since the backstage show, which we shot, less than half an hour ago. About 12 minutes ago, I got an automatic emergency message on my phone saying that California is now locked down, essential personnel only. No one is allowed to leave the house or travel or anything like that. Can't go out of the house. Fortunately, I'm not making this up. I am considered essential personnel. I looked it up in the original order, and that's all you need to know about how stupid these things are. If I'm essential personnel and I'm allowed to go to work and people are closing their restaurants, then that's all you need to know. There's a level of anger here that I've not seen before, and I was quite convinced, to be perfectly honest with you, that this level of anger would throw all of these clowns out of office, but that certainly wasn't the case in California. You get what you pay for and you get what you vote for. And whether or I have to tell you, I'm baffled and speechless about this whole thing. Not only about the tyranny, I talk about the tyranny all the time, but how California could have turned in the kind of election results that we presumably did anyway in November, after having all these businesses shut down. The idea that suddenly these people are going to realize now that the government is not their friends seems a bit of a stretch. Most of these businesses have been under enormous pressures, and many of them have disappeared by the time of the election on November 3rd. And so it's very difficult for me to understand. I'm not saying that this woman doesn't deserve sympathy or anything else like that. I'm not talking about her individually. I'm needless to say, I'm on her side. But you do have to wonder where these votes come from. California geographically is a red state if you look at the actual area. But needless to say, when you get down to the cities, it's about as blue as they get. And I had thought that riots and boarding up the buildings on Rodeo Drive would have gotten people's attention. And I would have thought that all the restaurant closures and the absolutely arbitrary actions like the one I just got. I'm apparently confined to quarters now, and they can I'll go with pound sand, but that wasn't the first thing that came to mind. I'm going wherever I damn well want to, and they can pull me over. That's really, and by the way, I think that's how most people out here really are now. So what? Now we're going to have another 2 years of this before we have a chance to vote on this again. I just want to be crystal clear on this. I live in California, lived here since 1988. I cannot excuse myself from anything that happens in California. The fact that I vote Republican and I'm a conservative doesn't change the fact that I'm a Californian. And if it were up to me, I wouldn't let a Californian out of this state. I would put barbed wire and landmines around the border, and I would do everything I could to stop this actual contagion, which is the fact that for some reason or another, people out here continue to vote for this nonsense as they're being driven out of business and mocked by this gel-haired prince who laughed at the idea that he got caught having his $400 dinner at French Laundry. I feel very strongly for this woman. I am very sympathetic to her case, but I simply do not know, Steve, how the results that came in November 3rd. I thought if this doesn't do it, I don't know what will.
Maybe it took the second round, which of course didn't
I don't
happen
know
until
about that.
after the
I
election.
suspect not. I suspect if you had another election today, you'd get the same results.
Well, that's insanity defined, I guess.
That's pretty much right, yeah.
Yeah. Scott, the second clip is another Los Angeles chef, Andrew Gruel. He's got two small restaurants in L.A., barely making it. Who knows if he's going to survive another. And again, what got to him was the hypocrisy. Watch this clip.
Governor Gavin Newsom is banning dining indoors after he dines indoors with 22 people. He's banning groups of people of more than 4 or 5 people when, once again, he was with 22 people indoors. He's putting virtue signaling tweets out there about eating with a mask on and putting the mask on in between bites when he and those 22 people weren't even wearing masks. They were basically slobbing all over each other, all right?
Scott, I don't even know what to ask you at this point. We see the anger. We see the frustration. Bill sees it firsthand. California led the nation in the tax revolt in 1978 with Prop 13. Is anything going to come of this, do you think? Or has politics become so cultural that people can't let go of their class prejudices to vote for the other party anymore?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, anytime I think that it's gone as far as it possibly can before people are going to wake up, then it goes further. So I don't understand how people think. I don't understand the whole concept that a group of adults in some isolated city of a particular state or in a little district, 10 miles square, that's 1,500 miles from here, have a special kind of knowledge. It's almost like a Gnostic religious belief that they have special knowledge that is not, that I can't acquire through any self-effort. And they are the ones that I look to and say, please tell me what to do now. It reminds me of Hurricane Katrina, where there were, if you were to believe the stories, there were people basically sitting around saying, well, so far the government hasn't told us to get out of town. I mean, the dike's about to crack, but the idea that there are people in this country who not only wait around for the government to tell them what to do and then, mindlessly obey them, but can't possibly take the actions that they judge to be correct unless the government endorses them. Why Democrats would elect somebody who then tells them how to behave when you would think that the Democrats who elected those people already know how to behave. Democrats were saying all along, we believe the science, we follow the science. And so what governor or mayor in California has to stand up publicly and say, by the way, people, you should wear a mask, you should wash your hands, you should not go out in public places where people are closer than 6 feet together? Why would anybody ever have to say that, let alone sign an executive order passing some sort of a regulation? At least 70% of the population in California should already know that and already be morally obliged to do the right thing in their view. Why you can't trust a restaurant owner to say, you know what? I want to operate my business at a profit. The only way I'm going to do that is have a safe atmosphere within which people can dine. That's why I clean my kitchen, even though nobody can see the kitchen. I don't want people to get sick in my restaurant. I want to have an ongoing concern that generates a profitable cash flow for me. Why would you ever have to tell a business person like that, look, first of all, you've got to do these things to make sure nobody gets sick in your restaurant. And secondly, forget those things. You just can't operate your restaurant because you're not smart enough to figure out a way to do the things that we've already told you need to do and everybody knows. It's incredibly frustrating to me. And then the hypocrisy on top of it. to have these people saying, well, COVID restrictions for thee, but not for me, it just makes you want to throw up your $400 a plate dinner.
I got to just add one thing to that.
Yeah.
If you really want to get to understanding why this is, there's a remarkable book by a psychologist, very early psychologist named Eric Fromm, who's a contemporary of Freud. And he wrote a book called Escape from Freedom. Not escape to freedom, escape from freedom. And he did a great deal of research into this and found that many people don't want the responsibility of making their own decisions, that many people seek a way to not have to deal with any of these things. Many times you'll find immigrants to America from Russia or other places where the society is extremely ordered and everything shows up automatically and you have no freedom. They come here, they find they have to pay their own rent, get their own jobs, pay for their own health care. They freak out and they want to go home. But escape from freedom. And what you're seeing here is this in action. And the people that are subject to these kind of things are children and cowards. And what you have here is you have a state of terrified children.
Yeah, sad. Since Scott brought it up, I'll just add this bit. Follow the science is the new voodoo zombie curse. It's the chant you use to get other people to obey your will.
Exactly.
It ain't science. All right. I'd like to add, I'm really proud of Colorado restaurants up and down the Front Range here where I live, even in Summit County and ski country and all the rest. Restaurants are in open revolt. One up in northern Colorado, I believe it was, actually had county officials bust in and confiscate all of their liquor for operating when they shouldn't have. And as the owner said, I'm open. Nobody is forced to come here. People are grown-ups and can take their own risks. So God bless you, sir, and everybody else like you, whether you're in Colorado, Texas, California, anywhere else. I have to tell you, though, watching these clips makes me want to do something I've wanted to do in years and years and years. My first visit to California was many years ago. I was 5 years old. It was the youthful trip to Disney World, or Disneyland, excuse me. And of course, I had a blast, and I always wanted to go back to Los Angeles. When I did finally go back to LA, it was as an adult, and I couldn't wait to get out. It's just like I stepped outside of LAX, and I just wanted to turn around and get right back on the plane. And this was after I lived 6 years in Northern California, which was not a very good fit for me. It's how I ended up here in Colorado. But when I watch these restaurateurs, when I see the anger in the streets, the justified anger, not the BLM protesters pissed off because somebody who deserved to get shot got shot. I'm talking about real people who are being forced out of their livelihoods by this tyrannical government in Los Angeles and in Sacramento and all the rest. It makes me want to visit Los Angeles again. Hell of a thing. Maybe get out here real soon. Bill, we'll hook up. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll go out to eat, I promise. And that is your right.
Don't talk to anybody.
That's your right angle on that. Brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Hey, I need to remind you that content like this needs sponsors like you. So if you're not a member of BillWhittle.com already, please click on over, join us, or just hit the one-time donation button if you'd like to give us just a little smidge of your support. We'd sure appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.